So I'm back at y'all, Life Coach CW. I was thinking about how up here in Chicago, the superintendent, there used to be superintendent who got fired, Eddie Johnson. He got fired for, I guess, sending his police car drunk or sleeping at the wheel. Anyway, they made a disgrace out of him and fired him. But Superintendent Eddie Johnson, he didn't kill himself. He didn't say, I was disgraced. They made me look bad. I'd put in all my years with the Chicago Police Force, and at the end of it all, they fired me for indiscretion I made. And being that I was fired in such a disgraced manner, I should kill myself. No, Eddie Johnson didn't kill himself. He went on about his life. He took his hit like a man. But here you have an officer named Deion Boyd, who worked all his life at the Chicago Police Department, rose up in the rankings, and suddenly got a promotion to become a deputy. And they tell the peoples of Chicago or Illinois that he committed suicide. Mind you, when I first heard that he got that an officer got killed in a police station, I automatically knew, or we all automatically knew that it was a black man. But for them to tell the peoples that he committed suicide after he worked all his life to become a deputy of the Chicago Police Force, and suddenly he killed himself, that's hard for me to swallow. That should be hard for the people to swallow. But yet it got swept up under the rug. They quickly swept it under the rug. And you know how they quickly swept it under the rug? Because they launched a press conference and began to talk about all the black men that they had indicted, the 25 to 30 black men they had indicted up under drugs and guns and conspiracy charges. They made a big spectacle of that. They didn't make no big spectacle, no big issue of of a black police officer who had just became a deputy. They didn't make no big spectacle of his situation. And the people haven't even made a big issue of their situation. It quickly got swept up under the rug. But why is that? But you know who they made the scapegoats for that? Again, they made urban black America the scapegoats. They plastered how they had just indicted all these black men. But think about that as well. You must always question, why do they always indict 25, 30 black men? Why do they always indict black men in large numbers? You never hear about investigations, large scale investigation on white men. You never hear about Chicago, Illinois indicting 25, 30 white men. They make it seem as if though white people or white young men is not committing crime in Chicago or in the rural areas of Illinois. They never indict white men on all they making their meth in these rural areas, selling their drugs in these rural areas, shooting their guns in these rural areas of Illinois and even in Chicago. But yet they always bring the RICO charges. They always bring the large conspiracy charges on black men. They've been indicting black men on a large scale since the crack era. They continually indict us, 25, 30 men at a time. And then have these big news conferences to say that they doing this to make Chicago safer. They doing this to make Illinois safer. Or they doing this to make America safer. But they always plastered the young black man and the young black woman on the screen. They always plaster or highlight urban black America as doing these things. And then say they doing it to make Chicago safer. When is Chicago ever gonna be safe? When are we ever gonna be safe in Chicago? Y'all continuously, America and the Chicago Police Force and the feds continuously indict over and over and over and over in large scales black men and put them in federal prison for long terms. They do this one, to get the men to begin to snitch, to keep snitching in the high level in the communities, because snitching does what? Creates divide, creates disunity. So the federal government indicts, so men could begin to tell on each other, black men could begin to tell on each other. So that creates a void. So by them doing that, they automatically know we always keep them disunited. Because if we indict them on large scales and make them tell on each other and snitch on each other, they would never trust each other. So the trust factor in the urban black America could never come together. They also indict on large scales because they need to fill up their beds. They need to keep the federal prisons filled up. But they only filling them up with black people. We continually miss this point. Then they want to make us believe, America want to make us believe, after the George Floyd incident, suddenly black on black crime rises. Black people suddenly get more violent with each other. Suddenly, after the George Floyd incident and the Black Lives Matter incident begins to take shape, to begin to rise in America, suddenly Chicago and all urban black American communities have 60, 70 killings a week. And then they want to again say, it's the black man and woman doing this to each other. They never answer the question, or they never pose the question on who is the people putting the people in darkness. Who are these people putting all the guns in the communities? Why the American government, why the Chicago or Illinois do not track the people who's putting all these guns in our communities? Black men do not make guns. Black men do not ship guns. Black men do not have airplanes and helicopters to bring these guns over into America or over into Illinois or into Chicago. Black men do not control the freight trains. So who are the people who putting these guns in these communities? Who are the people who putting all these drugs in the communities? Why these people are never indicted? Why no one never tracks these people down? Why is always just the black man and woman paying the penalty for these issues? Why you all always pointing the finger at us? Why do we have to go spend all our time in prison for these issues? Why do America indict on large scales the black man and woman constantly? Is it because mass incarceration is still on the table? Is it because if black men do not have a conviction, they could vote? Is it because it's election year and we need to lock up more black people in order to stop the rise, in order to stop the movement? Let's be clear. America needs to address the problem, not continuously put a band-aid on the problem, not continuously use black people as the scapegoat. For we already in poverty, for we already suffering enough, for we already have been oppressed enough through the war on crack, through the war on drugs, through the war on poverty, all the way back to the 400 years of slavery. We must continuously over and over and over be the scapegoats, and we must continually be the ones to pay the debt. We must continually be the ones who be highlighted to every other country in the world to say, these are the bad people. The black man and woman over in America are the bad people. Lori Lightfoot, Mayor Daley, the ex-mayor of Chicago, Mayor Daley, Mr. Ronald Safer, the new federal DA. You all need to go after the people who actually putting this stuff in our communities. You all need to start indicting these people on large scales. and stop making America and stop making other countries believe that it's the black man and woman that's the problem. We are not the problem. You know who are the problem? You all are the problem. That's the problem. For continuously playing politics with black people's lives. That's the problem here in America. I just thought I'll leave that word to the people, for the people to think about. For the Black Lives Matter movement to think about, for the people who continuously go out there and protest every day to think about these matters, on how they treat us, and the illusions that they paint to the peoples. Well, this is Real Talk by Charles Woods, Life Coach CW. I'm gonna always give it to y'all on the realest level possible. Continue to support me. Thank you.